Hello, Accelerated Math 6-7 students. We are now starting our 12th video, and the lesson title is From Rates to Ratios. On the other video, we did From Ratios to Rates, and now today we're going to focus on From Rates to Ratios, so we're working the other direction. And the place where these notes start are on page 30, so I'm going to turn to page 30, and here we go. So from rates to ratios. Like I said, yesterday we went from ratios to rates, and now today we are going to go from rates to ratios. Our goal, today we are going to learn how to find ratios associated with a rate. The question that I want you to be thinking about is, what are the similarities and differences between rate unit, rate unit, and a ratio? Okay, so basically what you need to remember is, given a rate, you can calculate the unit rate and associated ratios. Recognize that all ratios associated with the given rate are equivalent because they have the same value. So we're looking again at the value of the ratio to make sure that they are equivalent. Basically, what we want to practice with this is turn ratios into rates. Okay, so remembering that a ratio is a comparison of two numbers. A rate is a comparison of two different things. And then we're going to come up with this little scenario that we're going to work with. So if I gave you a ratio that said 434 to 7, that's how you read it in ratio language, 434 to 7. Making it a rate, you need to read it as 434 miles per 7 hours. So did you hear the language that changed? When we read it as a ratio, we do a comparison with the word to. When it's a rate, you read it as 434 miles per 7 hours. Then the thing that you need to think about to get it into a unit rate is you have to think to yourself, how do I get from 7 to 1? Because remember, a unit rate means that it's per 1. So since we're doing miles per hour, we need to go miles per 1 hour for it to be a rate. Over here, it's 434 miles per 7 hours. The unit rate is something miles per 1 hour. So in order to do that, you need to say, okay, how do I get from 7 to 1? And basically what you're going to do is you are going to use your multiplicative property, right? And you are going to determine that. So I have 434 miles, and you always need to put your units on there. If you don't write your units, you're going to get in trouble. 434 miles per 7 hours, and we're trying to figure out how we would find out how many miles we can travel in 1 hour. So how do I get from 7 to 1? The answer is you divide by 7. But what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So we're going to divide by 7 on both of them because of that multiplicative rule. And we know that 7 divided by 7 is 1. 434 divided by 7, I have to do it on paper. So that would go 6 times with 42. With 1 left over, bring down my 4, that makes 14. 7 goes into 14 2 times. And then I have a terminated number. So I now know that it is 62 miles per 1 hour. So I have determined my unit rate. So this is a rate. This is a unit rate. Okay, hopefully you guys are following me. All right, okay, let's try another one. So now it says the ratio is 5 to 4. Notice again how we changed the way we read it. 5 to 4. Over here, how would we make it into a rate? What would we call it, or what would we say? 5 to 4 is the ratio. If I tell you the rate is laps per minute, what is the rate for this one? If you said 5 laps per 4 minutes, then you were right. So we have 5 laps per 4 minutes. Okay? And then this right here is your rate, and now we want to find the unit rate. So we have to say to ourselves, remember, a unit rate means per 1 minute, because you want per 1 to be the comparison because of that unit rate. So how did I get from 4 to 1? If you said divide by 4, you're correct. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other. That's right. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. 5 divided by 4 is 5 divided by 4. So we can do 5/4 laps in 1 minute. Okay? Does anybody know what 5/4 laps really is? What does that look like? If we were actually going to do a lap, what would it look like if it was 5/4 laps? If you said 1 1/4 lap, so that means you made it all the way around the track, one full time, and then you went a quarter of another one, then you're right. So we can go 1 1/4 laps in 1 minute. Holy moly, that's really, really, really fast, okay, depending on what you're lapping. All right, so there's that one. Okay, let's try one more. Our ratio for this one is 32 to 2. Remember how we read it as a ratio. 32 to 2. That's really hard to read. If I'm changing that into a rate, how do I do it? If you said 32 gallons per 2 miles, then you got it right. Absolutely. So 32 gallons per 2 miles is the rate. And now we want to find the unit rate. Remember that a unit rate is per 1, so it would be 1 mile. So if we know that we can go or use 32 gallons per 2 miles, how many gallons will we use in 1 mile? Question, how do I get from 2 to 1? That is correct. You're going to divide by 2. What you do on one side, you have to do to the other. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 32 divided by 2 is, anybody? You are correct, 16. So in 1 mile, we use 16 gallons. So 16 gallons per 1 mile. Okay? All right, that looks pretty easy, doesn't it? I think you guys are pretty solid with turning ratios into rates. You found the ratio, you turned it into a rate, and you took it one more step and found the unit rate. Good job. All right, let's keep going. From rates to ratios, what we want to talk about now, because if we think back to our goal said, today we are going to learn how to find ratios associated with a rate. Now we're going to look at the relationships that makes them associated. So ratio relationships. For every 5 laps, it takes 4 minutes. So basically, on this one, what we're doing is we're taking the ratio relationship and we're finding the ratio, the rate, and the unit rate. Okay, that sounds pretty easy. Let's read it again. For every 5 laps, it takes 4 minutes. So first of all, what is the ratio of this ratio relationship? If you said 5 to 4, then you got it right. Nice job. Now let's turn it into a rate. They gave us the units of measure, so we have to use them. What are we comparing? For every 5 laps, it takes 4 minutes. So we're doing 5 laps per 4 minutes. Okay, does everybody see how we did that? And now we're taking that and turning it into our unit rate. So we have to ask ourselves, how do we get from 4 minutes to 1 minute? Because a unit rate means per 1. The answer is divide by 4. Very good. What you do to one side, you have to do the other. So we now know that 4 divided by 4 is 1. 5 divided by 4 is 5/4, like we just said, and it would be laps. So the unit rate, again, would be 5/4 laps per 1 minute. Okay? And that, we started from the ratio relationship, and that's all that you have to do. Okay? All right, let's try another one. For every 1 second, it soars 6 feet. Okay, again, we're finding the ratio, we're finding the rate, and we're finding the unit rate. Okay, so let's read it, the ratio relationship again. For every 1 second, it soars 6 feet. So what is our ratio for this one? 1 to 6. Good job. Okay, 1 to 6. The rate, 1 second per 6 feet. Okay, the unit rate, we want to have 1 foot. So we know that in 1 second, the bird can travel 6 feet. So how far can the bird travel, or how many seconds does it take the bird to go just 1 foot? Because we already know it takes 1 second to go 6 feet. So how far can the bird go? How much time does it take the bird to move only 1 foot? Oh, well, same thing. 6 to 1. How do we get there? Divide by 6 on both sides. So 6 divided by 6 gives me 1. 1 divided by 6 is 1/6. So you take 1/6 of a second to travel 1 foot. Okay, 1/6 of a second to travel 1 foot. That's pretty crazy. That means a very, very fast bird. Okay, so now the next one that I want you to take a look at for me is you're going to do the try this, and you're going to do the try this on your own. And this is what we're going to be looking at when we get to class in the morning. So we have try these. Dave can clean pools at a constant rate of 3/5 of a pool in 1 hour. Interesting. 3/5 of a pool in 1 hour. Okay, so I use the tape diagram, put it into fifths. The whole thing makes a pool, right? In 1 hour, we can only cover 3/5 of the pool. I would like you to write your ratio, your rate, and your unit rate, and then see if you can answer these questions. It's kind of a challenge, and I'm really interested to see how you guys can do with that. Okay? All right, so our goals. Today we are going to learn how to find ratios associated with a rate, which is what we did. We pulled the ratio out of every one of these different scenarios. Okay? What are the similarities and differences between a rate, a unit rate, a rate unit, and a ratio? Hopefully you're getting really comfortable with those so that you can tell the difference between them. And that's about it. All right, boys and girls, thank you so much, and I'll see you later. Bye.